Today I wanted to highlight a few resources for building your own pinball machine, and the first one is the Mission Pinball Framework. This is missionpinball.org, and it has a lot of information for developing your game. There's a lot to this site, so you're going to need to go in and explore. First thing that I would recommend is the Getting Started page, obviously. One of the hardest things for new MPF users is just installing MPF. The recommendations for installing MPF change over time. This is kind of characteristic of an open source framework. I would say before you even buy hardware, I would consider installing MPF and trying to work through the tutorial. So here's some information on installing MPF. There's a tutorial. I definitely recommend going through there. There's videos for it and a lot of useful steps that'll kind of get you up and running on your pinball machine. And beyond that, there's lots of other references here for game programming, for reference items. You can even look at games that have used Mission Pinball Framework. So we can come in here and look at Cuphead, for example. There's a video of it. This happened to use CobraPin, so that's cool. One thing that I wanted to highlight is the search. So you'll hear people refer to different aspects of MPF and you'll want to learn more information about it. So, I want to know what the coil section looks like. So just hit search. I actually wouldn't press enter, because if you press enter, it just goes to the top result. So type in what you're interested in and then select the thing that you actually want. So I'm looking for the coil section. So then I can click on there. And it gives me all the information about what is supposed to go into the coil section of my MPF config. So when you search in this setup, don't hit enter, look through the results as you type. The next site I wanted to highlight is Pinball Makers. There is a CobraPin pinball controller site on Pinball Makers. This has a lot of information about the board, about the hardware, about how you need to connect to it. I include some of my ideas for future hardware plans, and this is a good useful picture here to kind of give you an idea of how the whole system is supposed to connect together. Definitely read through this multiple times. If you're using CobraPin, make this page your friend, because there's a lot of useful information in here. Bear in mind that there's warnings and notes. For example, on this coil outputs, there's a note here about the pin that's marked with an asterisk, and that pin is different than all the other pins. So be sure to read through all of this and become familiar with it. There's CobraPin specific information about your MPF configuration, how you're supposed to set up the switch matrix, what the pin numbers are going to be, the lamp matrix if you're using the expansion board, what those lamps are going to be numbered, and auto fire device considerations. Also, if you ever need to change your OPP configuration, there's information here. There's a little beginner's guide to flashing a new board and loading the OPP configuration. And there's also information about the expansion board. So the expansion board itself, the satellite board, there's information for each of the connectors that are on each of these. So that can be useful. Again, I also have serial segment displays. So there's a link to the original Kickstarter for reference. There's a link to an MPF configuration page we'll take a look at real quick. So there you have the video that Jan did a while ago, and then information on how to actually set up MPF to use the serial segment displays. So again, lots of information on CobraPin Pinball Controller on Pinball Makers. If you see something that you'd like changed or like added, please let me know, and we'll try and keep this up to date. Another key site for MPF users is, in fact, the MPF users group. This is a Google group. There's nothing fancy about it, but the good news is you can come in here, ask questions, get support from the community, and get your questions answered. This is a pretty active Google group. I personally signed up for the daily digest, so every night I get a summary of the questions that were asked and the responses that were given so that I can stay up to date. So I would recommend that, just so you can see what other people are asking, and if you know the answer to it, go ahead and answer it and help somebody else out. So this is a really good community, and I encourage all of you to join it and use it regularly. Another reference I wanted to point out was Jan's YouTube page. So Jan was one of the maintainers of MPF for a long time, and he made a number of fantastic videos, very informative and helpful. So I encourage you to come in here and check out some of these videos. A number of these are linked in the missionpinball.org site, but it's good to come in here, go ahead and hit subscribe, and check out the other videos that he's made. And if you're building a pinball machine and you haven't got your hardware already, check out Cobra Amusements on Pinside. I sell the CobraPin pinball controller and associated hardware on there. So check it out and get yourself some pinball hardware. And that's it. There's a few resources to hopefully help you build your own pinball machine. Go ahead and check them out. Again, missionpinball.org, Pinball Makers with the CobraPin pinball controller site, MPF Users, Jan's YouTube page, and Cobra Amusements on Pinside. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.